What if the most powerful thing you could do for your health this year costs less than $2 a day and is already sitting in your refrigerator right now? Pharmaceutical companies have built billion-dollar industries selling you solutions to problems that the right food could quietly solve on its own. And what I'm about to share with you has been buried under decades of flawed science, corporate-funded studies, and nutritional guidelines that were never actually designed to make you healthy. We're talking about eating 5 whole eggs every single morning for 30 consecutive days. By the time you finish reading this, you'll understand exactly why this one simple habit triggers changes in your blood chemistry, your brain function, and your metabolic system that most people go their entire lives never experiencing. And here's the part that should make you angry. The information exists, the research is published, but it's deliberately kept out of the mainstream conversation because healthy people don't buy as many products. Let's start with the numbers. 50 eggs over the course of a month. That figure alone makes most doctors visibly uncomfortable. They've been trained through outdated medical school curricula and guidelines funded by the very industries that profit from your poor health to see eggs as a cardiovascular time bomb waiting to go off. But a landmark research study tracking over 500,000 people, published in one of the most respected peer-reviewed medical journals in the world, revealed something that shattered this narrative completely. The people who ate eggs daily had a significantly lower incidence of heart attacks compared to those who avoided them entirely. We have been systematically lied to about this food for decades, and the cost of that lie has been paid in energy, in cognitive decline, in hormonal dysfunction, and in billions of dollars spent treating diseases that better nutrition could have prevented. But before you crack your first egg tomorrow morning, there is something absolutely critical you need to understand. Because if you get this part wrong, none of what follows will work the way it should. The egg you buy at a gas station and the egg from a properly raised pasture hen are not the same food. They share a name and a shell. That's where the similarity ends. Walk into any supermarket and you'll be greeted by marketing teams, not nutritionists. Cage-free, free-range, natural. These words are legally crafted to make you feel like you're making a responsible, health-conscious choice. The reality is something else entirely. A cage-free facility can legally pack tens of thousands of birds into a dim, overcrowded warehouse. They're not in individual cages, technically, but they're standing shoulder to shoulder in their own waste, never seeing natural light, never touching soil. Free range simply requires that the birds have some access to the outdoors. That access can legally be a single small door in a building housing thousands of chickens, a door most birds never find and never use. These labels are theater. They exist to justify a price markup while changing almost nothing about how the animal actually lives. What you need is the word pasture-raised. These are hens that spend their days on open grass, foraging for insects, eating their natural diet, and living under actual sunlight. And that difference in lifestyle creates a completely different nutritional product. Pasture-raised eggs contain dramatically higher concentrations of vitamin D, omega-3 fatty acids, and fat-soluble antioxidants. You can see the difference before you even taste it. Factory-farmed eggs have pale, almost yellow yolks. Pasture-raised eggs have deep, vivid orange yolks that look like a small sunset in your pan. That color is not cosmetic. It is a direct visual indicator of nutrient density. The pigmentation comes from carotenoids and antioxidants that no artificial feed can replicate. Nature built a quality control system right into the egg, and it shows up in the color. Now let's talk about what actually happens inside your body, day by day, system by system. In the first 7 days, something unexpected happens that most people aren't prepared for. The constant low-level hunger that runs in the background of your daily life, that voice pushing you toward the snack drawer at 3 in the afternoon, that restless, unsatisfied feeling even after a full meal, it goes silent, not because you're white-knuckling willpower, because the biology changes. Most people eating a modern diet are living in a state of what can only be described as hidden starvation. You might be consuming 2,000 calories a day, but those calories are nutritionally hollow. Your body is receiving energy, but not resources, It keeps sending hunger signals not because your stomach is empty, but because your cells are starving for the raw materials they actually need to function. When you eat a bowl of cereal or a couple slices of toast in the morning, your blood sugar spikes rapidly. Your pancreas responds by flooding your system with insulin to bring that spike back down. But insulin overcompensates. Your blood sugar crashes below baseline, triggering a cortisol response, which triggers hunger again. This cycle repeats every 2 to 3 hours like clockwork. You're not eating because you need fuel. You're eating because your own hormones are trapped in a feedback loop that processed food created. 5 whole eggs dissolve that cycle entirely. You're taking in around 350 calories, but these calories carry a complete spectrum of B vitamins, B2, B5, B12, along with selenium, iodine, phosphorus, and a combination of 30 grams of high-quality protein and 25 grams of healthy fat. This precise nutritional ratio triggers the release of satiety hormones, including peptide YY, which sends a clear signal to your brain that the body has what it needs and the search for food can stop. Insulin levels remain stable because eggs produce almost no glycemic response. And when insulin stays low and stable, your body is finally free to tap into stored body fat as a fuel source. The energy becomes steady, the crashes disappear. Your body stops running on cheap, unstable fuel and starts operating on something clean and consistent. By the second week, the changes move upward, into your brain. And this is where things get genuinely fascinating, because what starts happening between your ears during week 2 is something most people have never experienced and wouldn't even know to look for. The nutrient at the center of this shift is choline. Most people have never heard of it. Most people are also severely deficient in it. Your brain uses choline as the primary building block to manufacture acetylcholine, the neurotransmitter that governs learning, memory, and sustained concentration. It is the chemical infrastructure that allows new information to be absorbed, stored, and retrieved. When acetylcholine is low, the symptoms are things most people just accept as normal. Reading the same paragraph 3 times without retaining it, walking into a room and losing the thought completely, feeling mentally foggy even after a full night of sleep, struggling to stay present during conversations. That's not aging. That's not just how your brain works. That is what a choline-deficient brain feels like. 5 eggs deliver between 600 and 700 milligrams of choline daily. You are not supplementing your brain. You are rebuilding its operating infrastructure from the ground up. People describe the experience around day 10 or 11 as the fog lifting, a clarity that feels almost unfamiliar because it's been absent for so long. Tasks that required enormous mental effort become manageable. Focus extends naturally rather than having to be forced. Simultaneously, the DHA omega-3 fatty acids in pasture-raised eggs are being incorporated into the physical structure of your neurons. Your brain is 60% fat by dry weight. The quality of fat available to it determines the quality of its signaling. DHA forms the membrane of your nerve cells and functions like high-grade insulation around electrical wiring. Without it, signals degrade. With a consistent daily supply of bioavailable DHA, the form found in eggs is far more readily used by the body than the plant-based version found in flaxseed or chia. Your brain is literally being structurally upgraded every single day. And there's one more thing happening that almost no one talks about. Those deep orange yolks are loaded with 2 antioxidants called lutein and zeaxanthin. These compounds have a remarkable biological tendency. They selectively accumulate in the macula of your eye, the part of your retina responsible for central vision. Once there, they function like internal filters against blue light, the kind emitted constantly by every screen you look at. Blue light exposure causes slow, cumulative oxidative damage to retinal cells. Lutein and zeaxanthin actively intercept that damage. By the end of week 2, you are simultaneously thinking more clearly and building long-term protection against vision degeneration. The third week brings the protein conversation. And this is where most people's understanding of nutrition is revealed to be seriously incomplete. The 30 grams of protein in 5 eggs is not the same as 30 grams of protein from a scoop of powder, not even close. The metric that matters is biological value, specifically how much of the protein you consume your body can actually convert into functional tissue versus how much gets burned as energy or excreted as waste. Whey protein, despite its premium reputation, has a net nitrogen utilization of around 17 to 20%. Soy protein performs worse. Whole eggs have a biological value so high that they are literally used as the reference standard against which all other proteins are measured. Your body can utilize nearly half of every gram. Nothing else comes close. Think of it this way. You're building a structure. You can buy cheap, warped, inconsistent materials where you end up discarding most of what arrives because it can't be used. Or you can source precision-cut components where almost everything fits exactly where it needs to go. That's the difference between low-quality protein and the protein in a whole egg. This becomes critical as the body ages. After 30, muscle mass begins declining at a measurable rate every single year in a process called sarcopenia. By 60 or 70, the accumulated loss of muscle is what drives falls, fractures, loss of independence, and a cascade of metabolic dysfunction. Preserving muscle is not a vanity goal, it is a survival strategy. And here's what makes the whole egg white obsession so counterproductive. Separating the white from the yolk doesn't give you cleaner protein, it destroys the biological value of the protein you're trying to eat. The yolk contains cofactors that your body uses to properly metabolize the protein in the white. Remove the yolk and you've broken the system. By week 3, if you're moving your body at all, your recovery is noticeably faster and your muscle tissue is holding while fat begins to quietly disappear. By week 4, your family is worried. Someone is going to sit across from you at dinner and tell you with complete confidence that you're consuming 1,000 milligrams of cholesterol every single day and your arteries cannot survive it. They are repeating something they heard that was told to someone who read a study that was funded by the vegetable oil industry in the 1960s. The science has moved on. The funding hasn't. Here is what actually happens. Your liver produces between 1,000 and 3,000 milligrams of cholesterol every single day, on its own, without any dietary input, because cholesterol is not a poison, it is a foundational biological molecule. Every cell membrane in your body is built from it. Every major hormone your body produces, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, is synthesized from it. When you eat less cholesterol, your liver compensates by producing more. When you eat more, it scales back. The system self-regulates with remarkable precision. For the vast majority of people, dietary cholesterol has no meaningful impact on blood cholesterol levels. The real story of heart disease is not about cholesterol itself, it's about inflammation. When arterial walls become inflamed from chronic stress, processed seed oils, refined sugar, smoking, your body dispatches cholesterol to the site to begin repair. Cholesterol is the first responder. Blaming it for arterial disease is like blaming the repair crew for the damage they were called to fix. What eggs actually do to your cholesterol profile is shift your LDL particles from the small, dense, genuinely dangerous type toward the large, buoyant type that cannot penetrate arterial walls. Your total LDL number might increase slightly. Your actual cardiovascular risk decreases. Most standard cholesterol panels don't distinguish between particle sizes, which means most doctors are working with incomplete information. And for roughly 40% of the population carrying the MTHFR gene variant, eggs provide something even more specific. This gene variant impairs the body's ability to clear a compound called homocysteine from the bloodstream. Elevated homocysteine is a far stronger predictor of cardiovascular events than LDL ever was, and it is almost never tested for in standard blood work. Clearing it requires bioavailable B9, B12, and choline, exactly the nutrients found in their most usable natural form inside a pasture-raised egg. While people spend money on synthetic methylation supplements hoping for this outcome, you're achieving it every morning at breakfast. One final thing that can undo everything: heat. If you cook your eggs on high heat until the yolk turns gray and solid, you have oxidized the cholesterol and destroyed a significant portion of the fat-soluble nutrients that made this protocol worth doing in the first place. Oxidized cholesterol is genuinely inflammatory. The goal is to keep the yolk soft. Soft-boiled, poached, or over-easy are ideal. For scrambled, use low heat. Add a tablespoon of grass-fed butter, stir gently and continuously, and pull them off the heat the moment soft, glossy curds begin to form. The residual heat finishes them. You want the texture of soft custard, creamy, rich, and barely set. That's not a preference, that's how you preserve what you're eating for. After 30 days, your body has undergone a complete and measurable recalibration. Insulin sensitivity improved, hunger signals normalized, brain chemistry rebuilt, hormonal production optimized, inflammation reduced, detoxification pathways supported at the cellular level. This is not a diet, this is not a trend, this is your biology operating the way it was designed to operate when given what it actually needs. You haven't just eaten breakfast for a month, you have sent consistent, precise signals to your cells, signals that say build, repair, and function at full capacity. And it started with something that was in your refrigerator the whole time.